Our MC, Bai Yi, is the leader of a proficient Awakened team called the Divine Core. Due to the existence of magic in this world, demons and their caves appeared. In reaction to demons appearing, those with special powers like Bai Yi awakened. His team is the strongest in the organization, and they are on a mission to exterminate the Demon King, Belphegor. Belphegor is a triple S-class demon with 5 elements, making him a tough opponent. Bai Yi and other awakened warriors receive their instructions from the highest authorities, the gods. As they enter the cave, Bai Yi screams at the top of his voice to inform his squad members that the mission has begun. Because of how proficient Bai Yi's team is, this is the 100th high-level demonic cave they will be challenging. Among his team are Ling Yue, Han Xiaoling, and Lucian. Because of how tough the mission is predicted to be, it was designated as an L-class purge operation, which is the highest ranking level. However, the team members are all excited to take on the mission, since they have been promised a vacation once they clear the demon cave and take out the Demon King, Belphegor. In perfect sync, the team unleashes their powers onto the attacking demons to exterminate them. Bai Yi leads the attack as they easily cut through the demons with their swift and precise attacking mode. This is made possible since all members of the Divine Core, from Bai Yi himself to the last person, are all L-rank warriors. Within a few minutes of precise coordination, the team clears the cave and wipes out the Demon King Belphegor. The team members excitedly talk about how easy it was for them to clear the cave. However, Lucian is skeptical about the whole operation. He feels like it is too easy since the mission was an L-rank mission. Even Bai Yi agrees with what Lucian said. The intel he got was that the Demon King was a special Demon King with 5 elements and a hidden skill. While he is trying to analyze what might be wrong, Ling Yue hugs him from behind, asking him if he is going to treat them to a feast, since they are done with the mission. Tired of having Ling Yue all around him, he pushes her away while telling her and the rest of the team that they are going to have dinner at their usual spot. On the other hand, Han cannot believe that their captain is throwing away a golden chance to have fun with Ling Yue. Just then, they notice that the last member of their team is not with them. He didn't help during the fight, and he is also nowhere to be seen. The team doesn't take this seriously since they have cleared the mission already. Speaking of the devil, he appears behind, but something unexpected follows. He boldly raises his hand and declares the start of the purge operation. Suddenly, Han gets hit in the head with a projectile, instantly killing him. Shock runs through the rest of the team as they see Han hit the ground dead. Half of his head is gone, and his blood spills all over the floor. The team is still in shock when the traitor reveals that he has been assigned the purge mission by God himself. Bai Yi notices that he can't move his body, and the traitor reveals that Bai Yi and the others have been eating breakfasts which were laced with paralytic powder for the past month. The traitor then holds the rest of the team with his divine skill called Forbidden Vines. This restricts their movement, giving the traitor a free rein to explain things to them. The traitor explains that he was assigned the mission to wipe out the team, and to do this, he needed to prepare. While he is arrogantly explaining, Bai Yi and the others are just asking him why he has betrayed them. The traitor replies that it is the gods' decree to wipe out the L-class warriors. The traitor tightens the grip on Bai Yi and the others, forcing them to scream in pain. They slowly lose consciousness as they cough up blood while they keep asking their bad teammate why he betrayed them. Bai Yi reminds the guy that the Divine Core never crossed any lines that deserve death. Since they have been following all the rules laid down for them, Bai Yi wants to know why they had to die. The traitor arrogantly tells them that the god doesn't need any reason to kill them. The traitor walks close to Bai Yi, and after choking him with his vines, he punctures his chest with his fist. Bai Yi cannot get over the act of betrayal since he already considered the traitor a part of his family. After all, the team has been together for 10 years, and they are practically inseparable. The traitor laughs at Bai Yi for being naive. He tells him that he was never a family to him because, since the first time he joined the Divine Core, he has been on a mission for the gods. Basically, Bai Yi and his team are just pawns in the hands of the gods. The traitor joined the team to study them, and he played along so well. Bai Yi and the team finally lose whatever life force they have left in them and crash to the ground. The traitor proudly stands above the blood and finishes Bai Yi off with a shot to the head. And on that day, which is May 22nd of the year 2125, Bai Yi and his team of L-class warriors were killed. Their bodies lie across the ground as the traitor walks off in preparation for his vacation. As Bai Yi's consciousness seeps into the abyss, he suddenly hears a voice demanding that they make a deal. Bai Yi is shocked when he sees himself in chains and in an unfamiliar environment. Standing in front of him is a creepy guy in a suit, and he has a dark aura around him. Bai Yi takes a closer look and realizes that the dude standing in front of him is Belphegor, the Demon King. He wonders how the Demon King is alive. Belphegor teases Bai Yi, telling him that a Demon King with high ranks like him would not die that easily. Apparently they are in his soul domain, and the entire kingdom is his life force. Tired of hearing the Demon King chatter, Bai Yi suggests that they get down to business. Since Bai Yi is obviously angry at what happened, the Demon King proposes a deal. Belphegor reveals that his hidden skill is called life regression. He lets Bai Yi know that he can send him to the past, giving him the chance to change the outcome of things. He asks Bai Yi if he is interested, and after a quick reminder of how his team died at the hands of the traitor, Bai Yi doesn't hesitate before agreeing to the Demon King's proposition. He is burning with rage as he swears to kill the traitor and the entire League of Gods, giving him instructions. The Demon King is pleased with Bai Yi's answer, and in addition to helping him, the Demon King grants Bai Yi one more gift, which is Belphegor's heart. Bai Yi then asks the Demon King why he is making a deal with him, but he ignores the question before Bai Yi gets sent off. When our guy opens his eyes, he finds himself in class with his teacher, Huang, yelling at him. Bai Yi has gone back 20 years to the year 2105. This was 20 years ago, when Bai Yi was still in the middle school division of the nation's Awakened Academy. Bai Yi is surprised to see that he truly came back to the past, which is before his awakening. The teacher scolds Bai Yi for sleeping in class, and most importantly, a class that is before his awakening ceremony. To punish him, the teacher orders him to go stand in the back of the classroom. Still in shock about being reborn with Belphegor's ability, he slowly walks to the back of the class. He stares at his classmates, whom he hasn't seen in nearly 20 years. The teacher continues the lesson, explaining to the class that there are 5 elemental powers in their world. The 5 elemental powers are lightning, flower, cloud, nuclear, and stellar. Apparently, one person can only contain one element. The teacher uses herself as an example, telling the students that she possesses the rarest cloud element. She then adds that the elements are divided into categories depending on how they bond with the body. The 3 categories are combat, support, and special. In her explanation, she lets the students know that each team comprises the 5 elements with different roles. The school's guild team is a prime example of that, since it consists of a stellar mage, a cloud warrior, a nuclear bard, and a lightning assassin. The teacher commends the students for being rare among the many and lets them know that the awakening day is the most important day in their lives. Apparently, there are nearly 100 known awakened professions. These professions are ranked from the lowest, which is dust, to celestial, which is the highest. In between dust and celestial are ember and the abyss ranks. To make it interesting, the students have just one chance at an awakening. She lets them know that the status they awaken with is going to determine how their life is going to play out. After class, the students step out to prepare for the awakening. Bai Yi then runs into one of his classmates, whom he usually calls Four Eyes because he wears glasses. Four Eyes is being bullied by an annoying dude, Hong Sheng. Hong is an E-rank stellar assassin, which makes him the hot stuff among his peers. Bai Yi is not surprised to see this because even in his past life, Hong was always bullying people and getting into fights. Before Hong and stress Four Eyes any longer, the teacher appears on the scene. She tells Hong that they are in a school, not a place where he can bully and rob people. Hong arrogantly tries to change the narrative as he tells the teacher that Four Eyes was the one who bumped into him. He claims he is only taking his money as compensation for this. He boldly tells Huang that he would have gotten her fired if not for the fact that she is hot. After he's had enough, he and his goons prepare to leave. He sees Bai Yi in his way, and with no regard for the poor boy, he shoves him out of the way. Bai Yi doesn't do anything rash, but instead takes a look at how the teacher is checking on Four Eyes. Apparently, Huang is a good teacher who cares for her students even though she looks tough on the outside. Bai Yi remembers Huang helping him out in his past life after he awakened. Just then, Huang is informed that it is her class's turn to enter the awakening chamber. Just like a mother, Huang tells her students to stay calm during the awakening to avoid injuries. In this world, there are 2 awakening methods. There is a natural method of awakening method, like the one Hong awakened with, which is why he is a prideful duck. The natural method of awakening usually happens in people with strong physical constitutions and natural talent, and the awakening process automatically activates during extreme emotional moments. The other awakening method is considered the artificial method, where those with the potential enter the awakening chamber. The chamber is the product of several knowledgeable scientists, and inside the chamber, emotions and adrenaline are intensely stimulated. This stimulation then forces the dormant awakening inside the potential candidates to activate. Because of how it happens only once, it is considered the only way for one to turn their life around. Some of Bai Yi's classmates entered the awakening chamber before him and got nice professions. One awakened with the blue tier profession, which is the Ember class. Finally, it reaches Bai Yi's turn, and the teacher tells him to focus while he is in the chamber. Bai Yi acknowledges his teacher's instruction and proceeds into the chamber. In his past life, Bai Yi awakened as an E-rank nuclear warrior. This is under the dust tier class, and it is considered the trashiest profession. His awakening back then led to constant bullying, but it wasn't until he reached S rank that he awakened the rarest type. Upon entering the chamber, Bai Yi is expecting to get a trash profession as usual. However, he is utterly shocked when the system displays an error message. The chamber kicks into activation mode and detects 5 elements instead of the usual one. Bai Yi can feel his insides burning hot as the system displays the infinite awakening message. The system informs Bai Yi that he can choose any class from any of the 5 elemental types as his initial class. Bai Yi further learns that he can upgrade the other class once his initial class has reached the maximum potential. Bai Yi is shocked when he realizes that he has just been granted elemental accumulation. Apparently, he can choose other new classes in the future. He can even obtain the dust rank up to the celestial rank while maintaining their qualities. Bai Yi also has the chance to unlock the hidden rank above the celestial rank. It then dawns on Bai Yi that he can do all these because of the gift given to him by the Demon King. He was given the ability of infinite awakenings, which is something unheard of. The system then tells Bai Yi that all other elemental bars will be cleared once he selects his initial class. After carefully taking his time, Bai Yi picks his class. He steps outside with the teacher, excited to hear what class he awakened with. Bai Yi subtly tells Huang the disappointing news that he awakened with Nuclear Warrior, which is the worst quality in the green class. Huang is thrown aback by this, but because of how good she is, she still encourages Bai Yi, telling him that great men have also emerged from the green class. She urges Bai Yi not to give up, but Bai Yi humbly tells her that there is no need for her to comfort him. Huang hears the conversation between the two, and just as expected, he pokes his nose into it. He trashes Bai Yi, telling him that the teacher is only giving him false hopes. He adds that reality is different from what the teacher is trying to preach. Hong reminds Bai Yi that the dust class basically means he is at the bottom of the food chain. Hong continues with his arrogant behavior as he tells Bai Yi that the gods choose those who are strong, while the weak ones are to be trampled upon. Hearing the mention of the gods immediately triggers Bai Yi. However, he remains calm as Hong continues with his nonsense talks. He reminds Bai Yi that he will have to start sitting in the back row in classes because this is just how society works. Apparently, the celestial ranks sit at the front, followed by the abyss rank, followed by the ember rank, and finally the dust rank. Dust rank warriors are considered to be trash, and can only do business with other low-tier ranks like themselves. Hong adds that there is no way for Bai Yi to change his fate through hard work, as this is considered a waste of time. Hong moves closer to Huang to talk trash to her, but Bai Yi has finally had enough. He grabs the coffee cup that Hong is holding and spills the contents on his face. Hong is hit with a moment of shock as he doesn't want to believe what just happened. He angrily asks Bai Yi what he thinks he is doing, and our guy replies that his voice is like noise to him. Bai Yi's acts and words are enough to get on Hong's nerves, and he decides that Bai Yi needs to be taught a lesson. He aims a punch at Bai Yi, and Huang tries to stop him, but it is too late. Unknown to him, Bai Yi is already prepared for him. Before the attack hits, he conjures a light sword and uses it to block Hong's attack. He doesn't stop there, but he then parries the attack, throwing Hong into the distance to everyone's shock. Hong crashes into the ground while Bai Yi's pose shows that he used little to minimal damage. Hong coughs up blood as he tries to grasp the reality of what happened to him. Even the other students who are watching cannot believe what they just saw. Apparently, Bai Yi intentionally chose the Nuclear Warrior class because he is used to it already. This was his class in his past life, and he already knows everything related to the class. Hong manages to stand back on his feet, and he arrogantly tells Bai Yi that he just got lucky. He mentions the fact that he is an abyss rank and why he is absolutely different from trash people like Bai Yi. Huang, who has a keen eye, figures out that Bai Yi didn't get lucky with what he did to Hong. She realizes that Bai Yi just used a top-tier movement skill, which is exclusive to the warrior class. Huang knows that the parry skill is a skill that allows the wielder to nullify an attack while reflecting the full attack back to the opponent. Huang is shocked to see Bai Yi easily pull off something like this because this is a skill her master couldn't even pull off after 10 years of hard practice. Huang is more puzzled by the fact that Bai Yi just awakened, and he already has access to such a high combat experience. Huang is lost in thought about this when Hong unleashes a short sword, ready to take Bai Yi down with it. Hong is now really mad, and he assures Bai Yi that he is going to embarrass him in front of everyone. Bai Yi just stands there, cool as a hero, while also revealing that he intentionally picked the dust class. He knows that in the near future, all those who are criticizing will end up seeing the great side of the dust class. But by that time, it will be too late. The students are already hyped as the two stand in front of each other in a fighting pose. However, it is forbidden to fight with powers in the school. Hong's father is an important official, and his uncle is even the school's dean. Bai Yi, on the other hand, has no reputable family, meaning he has everything to lose if he fights Hong. Four Eyes fears that he is going to get expelled if he takes the bait and fights Hong. He asks the teacher what to do, and the teacher quickly takes the initiative. She steps in, telling the two to hold it off, but Hong is utterly pissed already. He wants to get back at Bai Yi for humiliating him in front of everyone in the school. Hong threatens to still beat Bai Yi up even if he gets on his knees and starts begging for forgiveness. He sees himself at the highest pinnacle of talent, while Bai Yi is nothing but a loser. The teacher also knows that Hong is right since the difference in attributes between the two students is great. Hong is an Abyss rank warrior, which gives him a 200% boost in all of his attributes. Abyss ranks are way up because the moment they awaken, their attributes are double that of a Dust rank. They can also grow, while the Dust rank remains stagnant. None of those who are watching, including Four Eyes, believes that Bai Yi has a chance. They assume he is going to get crushed by Hong. Four Eyes agrees that Hong is a disgusting person, but Four Eyes has been surviving by playing the fool alongside the strong just to avoid getting into problems. He believes that avoiding Hong is the only way to survive since a head-on clash will only lead to an unpleasant end. Once he is done weighing up his opponent, Hong runs toward him. The teacher is worried as she screams at Bai Yi to watch out. The teacher assumes that Bai Yi is planning to parry Hong's attack again. She knows that this might not work since the parry skill consumes a lot of stamina when used. The rate at which Hong is coming at Bai Yi will make the parry useless. Even Hong is confident that he has the advantage over Bai Yi. Bai Yi, on the other hand, just smiles like nothing serious is coming his way. Bai Yi has no interest in dodging the attack since he has another card up his sleeve. Just as Hong reaches him, he activates the Flash Blink skill. This is an instantaneous flash effect that allows the wielder to pass through obstacles in front of them. It is over in the blink of an eye, and before Hong knows it, Bai Yi has hit him in a vital part of his body. He coughs up blood while trying to ascertain when Bai Yi got behind him. He slams the ground in frustration and humiliation, while the students are left in total disbelief. None of those watching was able to catch a glimpse of what Bai Yi did to Hong. The only thing they saw was Hong crashing to the ground, and even the teacher had no idea what had happened. However, the class president, Chi Yin, actually caught a glimpse of what Bai Yi did to Hong. Chi Yin realizes that Bai Yi has mastered the highest level usage of a warrior's basic skill, and he applied it during the fight with Hong. Meanwhile, the students are all questioning what is wrong with Hong. On the status screen, Bai Yi notices that one of his attributes has increased because he defeated an opponent. However, he is not impressed with the awarded points as he considers them too few. He knows that defeating demons is the only way for him to get higher points, and he plans to get down to this as soon as he can. Still struggling on the floor, Hong is not ready to give up. He tells Bai Yi not to leave, as he is not done with him yet. He grabs his knife and tries to get Bai Yi from behind, but before he can reach our guy, they hear a voice telling them to stop the fight. It turns out to be the school dean, Hong Lian, who is Hong's uncle. Lian mocks Hong, telling him that he has made a fool of himself already, and he tells the students watching to head home so that they can rest. At the mention of the word home, it registers in Bai Yi's head that he has a home. He didn't remember this because he had just been reborn, and his parents had already died in his past life. He remembers that something tragic happened on that very day of his awakening, and before the dean can even get the chance to address him, he frantically dashes off. Even Hong is shocked as the boy runs away from the scene. The dean is short of words, but eventually turns to Huang, telling her to get her student under control. He promises to look over what happened, and Huang thanks him for his consideration. Later, Hong follows his uncle to his office to try and justify what happened. He claims that Bai Yi only got lucky, but his uncle screams at him, telling him that Bai Yi utterly humiliated him. Lian stood in the distance and witnessed Bai Yi use the flash blink against Hong. Lian explains to Hong that in that split second, Bai Yi found his weakest point and struck it to leave Hong defenseless. The dean is pissed because even with his experience, he cannot execute the flash skill with such proficiency. The dean compares Hong's battle with Bai Yi to that of a pro gamer toying with a noob. Lian lets his nephew know that, with what he saw, Bai Yi is not an ordinary kid. On the other hand, Bai Yi is rushing while thinking of how important it is for him to get to the house. He manages to reach the apartment building in no time while remembering how things went down in his past life. He is ready to stop this from happening again, even if he dies in the process. Bai Yi enters the house while his father is watching TV and his mother is doing the dishes. Bai Yi looks pissed as he enters the house, but his father is surprised that he came home early from class. Bai Yi ignores his father and focuses his attention on his mother. With tears in his eyes, he talks about how glad he is that his mother is fine. His mother is dumb, and she communicates with Bai Yi using sign language. She tells Bai Yi that she made his favorite, which is the hot and sour noodles, but Bai Yi immediately tells his mother that he is not interested in noodles for the day. He lets her know that what he wants to eat is pickled fish. Bai Yi's mother tries arguing with him, but finally caves in when she realizes how stubborn her son is. She agrees to get the pickled fish, and Bai Yi opts to follow her, But his father stops him, telling him that his mother can get the ingredients by herself. He wonders why Bai Yi came back and didn't even bother to greet him. He stands up and strolls to where he keeps his alcohol and asks Bai Yi how his awakening went. He is already eager to hear what his son awakened with. It turns out that Bai Yi's father, Bai Ling Sheng, is a class electric warrior. He is a fairly strong person, which makes him dangerous. Bai Yi then tells his father that he didn't awaken that day because things took too long. His father demands to know why he came back home early if he had not awakened. He is aware that his friend's son has awakened, but he is disappointed with the class he awakened with. Ling Sheng, on the other hand, expects his son to awaken with the Abyss rank. Ling Sheng claims he awakened with Abyss rank back in his day, and he has also poured his sweat and blood into raising Bai Yi. Ling Sheng is pissed, and with a scary aura swirling around him, he asks his son to reveal what he awakened with. Bai Yi is totally engulfed in his father's aura, and he tries lying again that he hasn't awakened. This only makes the man even angrier, and just as the perfect father he is, he smashes the drink bottle on Bai Yi's head. When he finally learns that Bai Yi awakened with the dust rank, he gets more furious as he yells at Bai Yi. Ling Sheng is known to be a violent man who can't get his emotions under control. Back in Bai Yi's past life, after he found out that he had awakened as a dust rank, he got furious and embarrassed. He went the violent way and hit Bai Yi, but his mother stepped in just like she always does. Bai Yi couldn't do anything since he was a weak boy and could only watch as his old man beat his mother for a whole hour. The beating was so much that his mother was left mentally unstable because she got hit in the head. Bai Yi could only cry as he watched his mother get battered in his previous life. However, now that he is reborn, he aims to change things. Although he still doesn't have what it takes to challenge his father, since he obviously is going to need time to level up. His father is stronger than he is, since he is a C-rank Abyss class warrior. Bai Yi can't hope to get anywhere with the same tactics he used against Hong at school. His father is on a different level with real combat experience to boot. Bai Yi comes to the sad realization that he doesn't have what it takes to touch his father yet. His father grabs him by his hair while ranting about how much he regrets that he allowed Bai Yi to be born. Bai Yi knows that he is in a deep mess because his father will definitely not let him go until he gets a satisfying result. After all, he came home early to wait for him. Knowing fully well that his father is violent, he didn't want his mother to stay around and witness everything unfold. Bai Yi is glad that he got his mother out of the house, but while he is rejoicing in his inner head, a physical blow lands on his head. Things immediately go from bad to worse when Bai Yi hears someone enter the house. It turns out to be his mother, whom he is trying so hard to stop from witnessing the violence. His mother is horrified at the state in which she met his son. He is on the ground while Ling Sheng is pounding his head like it is nothing. Apparently, Bai Yi's mum ran as quickly as she could so she could feed her hungry son, and this is why she returned home so fast. Bai Yi is terrified at the sight of seeing his mother back in the house as he wonders if history is about to repeat itself. Just as expected, Ling Sheng turns his attention toward the poor woman, ready to do whatever he deems fit for her. In a flashback, Bai Yi is sitting in a prison cell. Apparently, Bai Yi was able to advance from a green tier to a platinum tier in his past life, making him the first to do so. Because of how impressive this feat is, his cellmate wonders why he was arrested and brought to prison. It is not just any prison, but a place where inmates who have been sentenced to die. The only statement that came out of Bai Yi's mouth was that he deserved to die because he beat his mother to death. He apparently killed his father because of what he did to his mother, which is why he was sentenced to death. Now in the present, history is about to repeat itself right in front of his eyes. Ling Sheng continues displaying his act of madness, while Bai Yi's mother runs over to check on his son. Bai Yi considers himself a bit stronger than an ordinary person because there is no way an ordinary person could survive the punch his father hit him with. His mother tries to help him up while also shielding him from his angry father. Ling Sheng continues with his rant, telling his wife that he was happy the day he found out that she was pregnant. He believed that it was finally time for the Bai family to shine again since his other two siblings couldn't produce a son. He believed the ancestors were relying on him to restore the family's glory now that his wife is pregnant. However, he is utterly disgusted by what came after. His son, whom he put so much hope on, awakened with the worst class of all, which is the dust rank. Ling Sheng screams at his wife while reminding her that Bai Yi can't even advance with his rank because it is a trash class. Ling Sheng then blames everything on his wife, saying Bai Yi awakened with such trash class because of her genes. Ling Sheng loses it and raises his hand to hit the woman, but Bai Yi is not going to allow this to happen. He uses Flash Blink to pass through his mother and block his father's attack. Ling Sheng is thrown backwards and smiles at his son, trying to act heroic. Bai Yi's mother is worried because she knows what is coming next. Ling Sheng gets back on his feet as he arrogantly walks toward his son with the intention to beat him to a pulp. Bai Yi plans to use the parry attack on his father, But before he gets the chance to even activate the skill, his father's punch reaches him, breaks through his sword, and lands on his face. Bai Yi spills blood everywhere with the bitter realization that the power gap between him and his father is great. Before he even gets the chance to breathe, another punch comes at him. He blocks this with his hands, but the shock still reaches his body, affecting his ribs. Ling Sheng then cooks up another powerful strike to put his son in his place. He is mad that his son already has the guts to defy him. Bai Yi sees the punch coming but doesn't have what it takes to dodge or even block it. He only covers his head with his hands as the blow lands on him. Ling Sheng tells Bai Yi that he deserves to die because he awakened with a useless class. However, Bai Yi is still standing, as he is not ready to allow history to repeat itself. Ling Sheng gets angrier as he sees Bai Yi standing up to him. He mocks him, asking him if he thinks he is the real deal because he just awakened. Ling Sheng grabs a chair, ready to smash his son with it. Bai Yi's mother holds his son as they both brace up to be hit. Just then, they hear a commanding voice from the outside, demanding that they open the door. Ling Sheng is disappointed that someone just came from nowhere to disturb what he has going on. On the other hand, Bai Yi's mother is holding her son in relief that they are able to catch a break. However, it is not a surprise to Bai Yi that someone is knocking as he is behind it. Ling Sheng acts all tough, opening the door until he realizes those who are at the door. Two dudes who look tough stand in front of the door and ask Ling Sheng why it took him so long to open up. The two dudes are Liang and Chen Jinwu. The two are inspectorate investigators. Liang is the deputy captain, and he is red A rank, while Chen Jinwu is blue C rank. Ling Sheng is shocked to see the two, and while trembling, he asks them what they are doing at the house. Liang shows him a picture of a wanted criminal named Snow, asking Ling Sheng if he has seen him. Apparently, the office got a call that Snow was seen around the building. This is why the cops are conducting a house-to-house search to try and confirm if the report is true. Ling Sheng is relieved to hear that he is not the reason why the two are there. He immediately smiles while telling them that he has not seen Snow. Since Snow is popular and he is always appearing on TV, he assures them that he would definitely report it if he ever ran into him. Just then, Liang notices that Bai Yi is in bad shape. He asks Ling Sheng how this happened. Ling Sheng lies that his son was careless and he fell while going to buy groceries. He taps Liang on the shoulder, telling him that he doesn't need to worry about such trivial matters. Before he can finish his statement, Bai Yi cuts in, telling the officers that his father is lying. Bai Yi boldly tells the officers that his father hit him, which is why he is all bloodied up. 18 minutes earlier, Bai Yi had used the phone booth at the apartment to call the cops, telling them that he saw Snow in the building. He knew that the cops would not joke with any news that concerns Snow. However, he wasn't expecting them to have arrived this fast. Although he is glad that they came because he is able to buy enough time for the cops to show up. Ling Sheng tries to push the narrative away while telling Liang and his partner that his son is not serious about what he said. He lies that he doesn't even have what it takes to beat his own son. However, Bai Yi doesn't allow the lie to land before he counters with the truth. He tells the officers that his father hit him in the head with a wine bottle while his arm was hit with a stool. Bai Yi continues pointing out the places where his father already hit him. He tells the officers that they can evaluate his body for injuries. Bai Yi takes it further by quoting their rule of law. He tells the officers that all awakeners who cannot control their violent behavior and harm others are liable to be detained in the awakener prison for 15 days. The cops are shocked and also impressed by how learned Bai Yi is. Ling Sheng turns around to look at his son with all the contempt in the world. With everything that Bai Yi has told them, Liang has no choice but to arrest Ling Sheng. Ling Sheng is immediately grabbed by the cops, and when he tries to grab his son, the cops tell him to calm down or else force is going to be used against him. Ling Sheng is grabbed out of the house, but he threatens to wipe his son once he is back from prison. Bai Yi ignores him and just closes the door behind him as he is being dragged away by the cops. Once they are safe, Bai Yi's mother runs over to hug him. Bai Yi is glad and relieved that he was able to save his mother. However, he has 15 days to get stronger, and he promises his mother that Ling Sheng will never touch her again. Before his father was dragged away, he managed to grab the key to his safe from his body. He knows that his father has something important inside the safe since this is how he was able to climb from E rank to C rank. Later, Bai Yi heads to the safe and uses the key he took from his father to unlock it. The contents of the safe were a secret Bai Yi learned after his father died in his past life. He opens up the safe and brings out the scary blade hidden inside. Bai Yi plans to take on the demon caves using the blade. Since demon caves are the only thing that can upgrade his class, Bai knows that he has no choice but to take on the labyrinths. However, there is a bit of a problem. The demon caves are under the jurisdiction of the gods, and only the guild members can enter. The ones Bai Yi can currently enter are the ones managed by the school. He can also access the hidden demon cave that he knew in his past life. In no time, Bai Yi makes his way to the hidden demon cave as he is determined to surpass everyone as fast as he can. Meanwhile, in the detention room of the inspectorate, the officers are talking about how the snow sighting ended up being a false alarm. However, they are not mad at this, since they are always ready to check out anything related to snow. While the officers are discussing, Ling Sheng tries to bribe the officers so that they can release him. Liang is absolutely disgusted by Ling Sheng's behavior since he was a member of the guild. The officers tell him that things are going to get even worse for him if bribery is added to his charges. They urge him to stay put for the night because he will be sent to the Awakener prison the following morning. Ling Sheng gets mad all over again, and all that rage is directed toward his son. Since Bai Yi himself knows that his father will be out in 15 days, he is already preparing to take on the demon caves to level up. Demon caves are another space parallel to their world and can only be accessed by a door that appears out of thin air. Once the demon caves are discovered, they are mostly taken over by the guilds because the demon caves house demonic beasts and demonic ores. This is why it is the best place for awakeners to improve their abilities. However, a team is usually required to enter since the demon caves are pretty dangerous. The demon cave that Bai Yi is about to take on was only discovered 5 years later. Apparently, an F-rank demon cave requires 3 E-rank warriors, while an E-rank demon cave requires a 5-person team consisting of 3 E-rank and 2 D-rank warriors. Bai Yi is confident that the demon cave he is about to challenge is an F-rank demon cave. The demon caves are known to be dangerous, but since Bai Yi has no choice at the moment, he has to take on the cave all by himself. Bai Yi knows why he needs to get stronger as soon as possible. Armed with just the weapon he took from his father's safe, he proceeds into the demon cave. Everywhere is filled with ice and snow, and Bai Yi figures out that he is in the domain of a beast using cloud-type magic. As he strolls through the seemingly deserted domain, he soon runs into a sleeping ice bear. In front of the ice bear are human skeletons, showing that some adventurers might have entered before. While he is still looking around, a bloodthirsty forest wolf appears out of nowhere and almost gets Bai Yi. The wolf, though E-rank, is still stronger than Bai Yi. Bai Yi leaps backward to avoid the wolf, but it comes at him without hesitation. Bai Yi is able to block the wolf's teeth from sinking into him by using the blade. Bai Yi then goes on the attack, and with just a single slash, he takes down the wolf. Bai Yi is able to get this done thanks to the A-rank weapon that he is wielding. It is a weapon that is not available on the market, which is why his father was keeping it hidden. With this weapon, Bai Yi is able to close the skill gap between him and the beasts he is about to take on. The weapon is known as the Hunwu blade, and it is made from Hunwu stone. Because of how powerful it is, it cuts through iron like butter. However, even with the powerful weapon, Bai Yi knows he still needs at least 4 strikes to take down beasts because of their impressive defense. Bai Yi casually teases about how he misses being an L-rank awakener. Bai Yi learns that he needs to take down 20 wolves if he wants to upgrade a level on his skill set. Since he is fighting in an ice area, his cloud element will be the one to receive the upgrades. In addition to this, it is going to take him 10 upgraded levels to move from his current E-rank to D-rank. In no time, Bai Yi had himself surrounded by a pack of wolves that were attracted by the smell of blood. This is the perfect opportunity, yet a dangerous one for Bai Yi to level up. The wolves gang up on Bai Yi, but he relies on 2 skills while engaging the wolves. He combines the dodge skill and the counter-attacking skill to take down the wolves. He is able to maneuver his way around without receiving damage while dealing damage to the beasts. He takes down the first pack of wolves, with each kill giving him 52 experience points. He also acquired wolves' fangs during the fight. After taking out the entire pack, he has the Wolf King to deal with. Using his agility and swiftness, he delivers several cuts to the wolf's body, giving it no chance to heal. The Wolf King dies from the injuries, and Bai Yi earns 56 points for taking out the beast. Because he defeated the Wolf King, he earned a Snow Wolf Diamond. After clearing out the first pack of beasts, Bai Yi already has enough experience points to upgrade to D-rank. In addition to the points he gained, he also earned 12 attributes, and the system prompts him to allocate them as he sees fit. He then allocates the attributes as he deems fit, but notices that he is already tired after taking out just 20 wolves. He's not impressed with how weak E-rank bodies are. In addition to his list of problems, he knows he has to obtain a dimensional backpack where he can keep his loot and avoid losing it. Bai Yi also admits to the fact that taking on a demonic cave solo is pretty difficult. Regarding the Snow Wolf Diamond that he earned, it is a durable jewel used to craft special material weapons. It is also pretty expensive on the market. He knows the only way to get access to a high-tier demonic cave is to join the Divine Corps. Since the awakening schools are under the guilds, they often send representatives to scout prospective warriors for their teams. It is every student's dream to graduate with flying colors so as to join a guild. But if a student is unlucky and gets kicked off their team, their career is most likely over. This was what happened to Bai Yi's father and why he is stuck at C rank forever. Looking at his current situation, Bai Yi realizes that he is going to burn even more stamina by taking on the beasts alone. In addition to this, he is already exhausted. Before he knows it, another pack of wolves appears out of nowhere. He decides to use a trick that he has up his sleeve. He makes a run for it, and the wolves follow. He leads them into a forest where he cuts down a bunch of trees to give himself a bit of space. This disturbance then attracts the beast residing in the forest, which is the cloud python. Bai Yi has the wolves to deal with, and he also has pythons joining the fray. To get out of the difficult situation, Bai Yi kicks his plan into motion. He lets off a loud explosion, hoping that it wakes one particular beast that he needs for his plan to work. His plan goes according to how he wants it, with the sleeping frost bear angrily emerging from where it is. The bear is in a state of rage which will force it to attack whatever it sees in its line of sight. The wolves and pythons are not safe from the bear's rage as they all get smashed. While the bear is smashing them around, Bai Yi is doing the cleanup from behind, earning him a bunch of experience points in the process. Bai Yi continues with the same tactics, earning experience points and also obtaining python fangs and wolf fangs. Bai Yi is able to use the weakness of the beast against them. He knows that they are aggressive, but they usually don't have the brains to back it up. They are essentially all brawn without brains. By using the bear against the wolves and the pythons, he is able to conserve his stamina. However, he still needs to be the one to finish up the beasts if he wants to gain the experience points. After fighting for some minutes, Bai Yi is already exhausted. He decides to jump into his next phase of the plan. Once the beasts are lined up in front of him, he hits the ice floor and breaks it to kill the beast. Since the start of the fight, he has been analyzing his terrain to see the pros and cons. He noticed that they are not fighting on a frozen lake, but rather an ice bridge suspended between two cliffs. This brilliant plan of his takes out almost all of the beasts in one fell swoop. Bai Yi is exhausted, but he still needs to take care of the frost bear and the remnants of the wolf pack. The system then unlocks a new title for him. He is called the 1 against 100, and with this title his stats get increased by 10% because he is fighting multiple enemies. However, Bai Yi is not worried about the frost bear yet. He knows that every cave has a final boss, and he is already expecting the final boss to show up. He has caused enough chaos, and he wonders why the boss hasn't appeared. Suddenly, the area gets hit with an ice spell. Before he can react to it, he and the beasts in front of him get hit by the spell. Bai Yi then realizes that he was wrong with his assumption. The final boss had already awoken, but it was waiting for the perfect moment when Bai Yi and the other beasts were exhausted to make its move. Bai Yi and the beasts are gathered in one spot, making it difficult for them to escape its spell. Bai Yi tries to move, but the spell already hits him. His legs are already frozen, and he realizes that the ice bridge was also a part of the boss's trap. The final boss put everything into place to show up and reap all the rewards all at once. It finally dawns on Bai Yi that the cave's final boss is an intelligent one. The final boss of the cave is the Kanglin demon monkey, and it also has some other apes as its guard. Almost every part of Bai Yi's body is covered in ice, preventing him from moving while the demon monkey wears an evil smirk. Apparently, the cave is designated as a high-risk cave that requires a bunch of E-rank warriors to challenge. With his body completely frozen over, Bai Yi is scared that he might go into hypothermia, which will be his end. The monkey boss raises his hand and points his finger at Bai Yi, ordering his monkeys to go after the incapacitated Bai Yi. Realizing that he is trapped, Bai Yi resorts to the use of the parry skill. Since the parry skill requires precise timing when blocking, Bai Yi makes sure to wait until the hit is about to land. He activates the parry skill and also the shatter skill, shattering the ice and blocking the incoming attack. Even though Bai Yi has temporarily gotten out of the situation, he knows he is in trouble because he has drained a big chunk of his stamina. The shatter skill comes into play when an awakened uses all their energy to break out of control effects, but this consumes a large amount of stamina. Bai Yi figures out that the demon monkey will need time before he can use an ultimate skill again, and he has to kill him before then. Just then, the demon monkey orders the ice bears and wolves to attack Bai Yi. Since the nucleo element has issues thriving with the cloud element, Bai Yi knows that his chances of winning are pretty low. He is low on stamina, and he is getting exhausted. The demon monkey just sits there like a proper villain while ordering his minions around. Bai Yi knows pretty well that he is going to meet his end if more beasts show up to attack him. He is still trying to think of a way out when he is attacked by one of the monkey beasts, trying to smash him down with a club. Bai Yi only manages to block the attack, but he gets pushed back with his knee scraping the ice floor while he tries to maintain balance with his short sword, grappling with the ice. The sudden attack causes Bai Yi to lose all of his strength, putting him at a serious disadvantage. The ice bears don't even stop screaming at Bai Yi, weakening him further. One of the bears throws an ice boulder at Bai Yi, but he manages to cut it down. However, the cold doesn't help with things, as Bai Yi's stamina has almost hit 0. Once the demon monkey notices that Bai Yi is almost drained, he pops up another ultimate skill, the Ice Storm. Bai Yi is shocked when he sees this, as he is not expecting the demon monkey's ultimate to have a fast cooldown. His eyes light up in horror as he stares at the incoming attack. This makes him remember that in his past life he faced life-or-death situations, and in these situations he was able to develop a sense for recognizing the right opportunities. Bai Yi figures out that at his current state, he has just 2 options. It's either he stays and keeps fighting, but since his stamina has hit the limit and he continues to endure damage from the beasts, he is definitely not going to survive. The second option is pretty simple, and this is him running away from the fight. Bai Yi wastes no time picking option 2, and he leaps off the cliff, trying to get away from the beasts. However, the demon monkey hits him with an ice spell that catches onto his feet, causing him to lose balance and fall off instead. With ice formed all around him, Bai Yi crashes down to the river below. While he is busy fighting for his life, his mother back home enters his room. She believes that Bai Yi is still sleeping, but she is shocked when she enters the room to see no one there. Bai Yi had left home the day before, which was a Friday, but now it is Saturday. Bai Yi's mom checks through the room and she finds a note left behind by her son, telling her that he went to a friend's house. Bai Yi urges his mother not to be worried, but the note only makes her more worried since she knows that her son would have told her he is going to a friend's house instead of leaving a note. She wonders what is going on with the boy since he has been acting all different since he came back home the day before. The woman is totally uneasy with several things running through her head. Back in the dungeon, Bai Yi managed to survive the fall. However, jumping off the cliff was also his plan. He remembers that nearly 100 beasts fell into the river when he broke the ice bridge earlier. However, he only got rewards for 40 beasts, which means the others survived the fall. Bai Yi coughs in pain as he drags himself out of the cold river. Even though he survived, he is running on a low percentage of his stamina. He is suffering from continuous blood loss, low temperature issues, and is in a completely weakened state. In addition to this, his body is severely damaged because he fell from a very high place. Without a doubt, Bai Yi knows that he is at his limit. While Bai Yi is lying in his weakened state, he wonders if he truly is at his limit. Before he knows it, he is already surrounded by beasts, like the ice bears, ready to finish him off completely. As the beasts get closer to him, Bai Yi falls into a state of deep reminiscing. He remembers his time with the Divine Core. He remembers the good moments he had with his teammates and everything that happens whenever he is at work. He also remembers his mother trying to make sure that he is fine. While remembering the good things, he also remembers his father's wickedness and the pain he suffered from the traitor who betrayed him. A voice rings in his head, telling him that it is the end for him. This is enough for Bai Yi to clench his fists together and decide that it is not the end for him. He manages to stand up, and just as the ice bear is about to finish him off, he raises his hand and holds the bear's giant teeth from closing in on him. Bai Yi is determined to make sure that all the negative and bad things that happened in his past life will not repeat themselves. He has died once, losing everything in the process too. But this time, he plans to turn everything around. With a newfound determination and energy burning inside him, Bai Yi smashes the ice bear before throwing it into the distance. Bai Yi lets off a cold breath and grabs his short sword again. Bai Yi's desperate attempt triggers something in him, which can push for a class advancement. Bai Yi stands back on his feet with a yellow aura swirling around his body while he is surrounded by monsters. His decision to put himself at risk by soloing a dungeon that would have required a team and going up against dangerous beasts is just for Bai Yi to make himself feel something from his past. This is a feeling of desperation where adrenaline pumps through his body, thus triggering a class advancement. Even though Bai almost died, he is not able to fulfill the conditions needed for the class advancement. However, instead of the class advancement, he learns a new skill. Nuclear Holy Swordsman. This is an ultimate skill, and it is well ahead of its time and level. He didn't get to advance his class, but the skill is something that would come in handy. With this skill, and the adrenaline pumping through his body, Bai Yi is brimming with aura and energy. He points his sword at the beasts, telling them that it is time for him to wipe them all out. One of the beasts makes a move, and the others follow suit. Bai Yi remains unfazed, and he prepares his short sword, waiting for the beast to take him on. Just as they get closer, Bai Yi unleashes a swirling but dangerous speed attack called Sanctuary that cuts through all of the surrounding beasts in just one slash. He cuts down the beast with the notifications popping up to tell him that he has taken down ice bears, forest wolves, and the number of experience points he has also acquired. After taking out the surrounding monsters, he acquires items like the Icefield Beast Hide, the Proud Barebone, and Bloodtooth. The Sanctuary skill helps clear his fatigue and also restores his lost stamina. In addition to this, Bai Yi gets an upgrade and he obtains the Icefield Wanderer. This helps to resist cloud element creatures plus 100 damage reduction, which is the exact thing he needs in his current situation. Bai Yi stares at the top of the cliff, promising that he is coming to wipe out the rest of the beasts, and this includes their boss. With the experience points coming in like a flood, Bai Yi is able to upgrade to level 9 of the E-class. Bai Yi immediately activates the Icefield Wanderer effect to resist the effect of the cold. The Sanctuary skill also allows him to store all the damage he is getting from attacks and then release it on a group of enemies all at once. However, this is something that he can only use after he has taken in a lot of damage. However, Bai Yi is thankful that the skill has helped him restore his stamina. Bai Yi then remembers that he needs to get things done quickly and return home before his mother starts to worry. Bai Yi climbs up the cliff and he makes his way to the palace of the demon monkey boss. The demon monkey is protected by a bunch of ice beasts, but Bai Yi doesn't care as he bursts his way into the palace. After taking out some more beasts, Bai Yi is now at the last level of the E-class, which is level 10. Meanwhile, it is now 11 p.m., and Bai Yi's mother is seriously worried back home. She has prepared food and put it on the dining table, but she is left to wonder where her son is. She prays that her son is fine wherever he is. Now in the boss's palace, Bai Yi takes out the ice bears serving as guards for the palace, while he is left to fight the boss's personal guards, the scary monkeys. The monkey boss doesn't look scared, and he orders his guards to take Bai Yi out. One of the monkeys jumps at Bai Yi, but all Bai Yi does is block and then easily slice the monkey in half. The monkey boss sees this and realizes that things might actually be dire for him. He angrily unleashes his ultimate, the Ice Storm Assault. But this has zero effect on Bai Yi since he is already immune, thanks to the new skill he just acquired. Bai Yi then dashes toward the monkey boss, and in desperation, the monkey boss raises his staff. He activates a spell that causes the jewel on the staff to start glowing. This puts the rest of the monkeys in a hyper mode, but Bai Yi doesn't see them as a threat. He only sees them as beasts he needs to kill for him to reach D-class. Bai Yi cuts through the beasts like they are nothing before relieving the monkey boss of one of its arms. The monkey boss screams in pain as he watches blood spill out of his severed arm. Before he gets the chance to do anything else, he finds Bai Yi looking at him with a death stare. Bai Yi unleashes a series of cuts to the boss's body, thus defeating it. The notification pops up, telling Bai Yi that he has successfully taken down the D-class cloud element user, the King of the Azure Forest. Because of this, Bai Yi gains 1,000 experience points. Bai Yi also advances to the D-class Nuclear Warrior. After this, he sees that there are items that he can pick up. Because of the amount of experience points he has gathered fighting an enemy that uses cloud element skills, the system tells Bai Yi that a new profession is about to awaken. Bai Yi is shocked to see this since he totally forgot about it. Just then, a red and blue aura starts to emanate from his body. He then awakens the cloud element mage profession, and with this, he can switch professions at any time. Bai Yi is excited to have awakened a red profession, even though it is still an E-class. Bai is excited because, unlike the Nucleo class, which comes with a 100% bonus, the red class comes with 200%. In no doubt, the red class strength is already on the same level as his current class. Bai Yi then picks up the mage weapon, the Stone of Magic. He also finds a magic pouch that can hold a maximum of 20 items. While he is busy looting, the rest of the beasts that are still alive can only watch. After he is done looting, Bai Yi looks up and realizes that some of the beasts survived, and since he just awakened a new profession, he decides to try it out on them. He switches to the mage mode with a red aura coming out of his eyes as he prepares to annihilate the beasts. It is now 5 a.m. the next morning, which is on a Sunday. Bai Yi's mother has not slept one bit, and she is sitting in the living room hoping that her son comes back. Just then, Bai Yi opens the door, and the moment she hears this, she immediately stands up to see if it is her son. Bai Yi enters the house, smiling and apologizing for making his mother worried. His mother doesn't waste time before running over to her son and hugging him tightly while crying. Bai Yi is shocked to see that his mother has been waiting for him, and she has even refused to eat. Just then, Bai Yi tells his mother that he has some good news for her. Apparently, while leaving the dungeon, Bai Yi was able to gather loads of valuable items, and this is thanks to the magic pouch he found. Inside the pouch is also his weapon. After leaving the dungeon, he meets with an ore broker. The broker offers to buy the ore for 800, but Bai Yi proposes a counteroffer of 8,000. This shocks the broker that Bai Yi is demanding such a huge amount for the ore. Bai Yi doesn't argue with him, and he just snatches the ore from his hand, telling him that he is leaving. The broker is forced to increase his bid to 2,000, but Bai Yi counters again, demanding 5,000. The broker then proposes 3,000, saying it is his final offer. Just as he says this, Bai Yi starts increasing the price, and before he knows it, it has appreciated to 7,000. The broker is still arguing and wondering why Bai Yi is increasing the bid. However, The moment he realizes that Bai Yi won't stop, he quickly stops Bai Yi at 7,000, promising to take the ore for 7,000. Since Bai Yi is experienced with the brokers in his past life, he knows how to deal with them. From the money he got from selling the ore, he rents an apartment, which he takes his mother to. In his past life, his mother was falling from one problem to another, but in this life, Bai Yi just wants to take care of his mother and make sure that she enjoys herself. Bai Yi concludes the apartment deal right in front of his mother, shocking the woman because of the high amount. By 8 p.m. on that Sunday, Bai Yi and his mother settled into the new rented apartment. Bai Yi is happy to see his mother smiling because it has been so long since he saw her with such an expression. Even though Bai Yi has rented a new apartment and he has moved up from E to D class, he knows that he can't let his guard down because of his father. Bai Yi wants to make sure that he settles the issue with his father before properly going after his main target. Bai Yi then wears a magic stone on his right arm, and this is a stone that increases an area of effect magic by 50%. At the same time, Hong is training really hard, trying to surpass his limit. He is jumping from one labyrinth to the other without resting. Even when his sister tries to convince him to rest, he slaps her hand away. Hong is prepared to do anything as long as he stays on top. Elsewhere, there is another unknown fellow checking through the list of the newly awakened students. She is disappointed that there are no exceptional talents among the newly awakened. The next morning at 7:30 a.m., Bai Yi's mother had prepared food for her son. Bai Yi is shocked when he realizes that he is running late. He asks his mother why she didn't wake him, and his mother replies that he was having a good rest, and she couldn't bear to disrupt that. She pats him on the head, urging him to eat slowly. With his mother's comfort, Bai Yi calms down, realizing that it has been a long time since he slept peacefully. In addition, it's been a long time since he last had an unhurried breakfast. Just then, his mother asks him if there is anything that he wants, like a toy or a book. Bai Yi is surprised that his mother is suddenly proposing gifts to give to him. This is when his mother reminds him that his birthday is next Friday, which is June 5th. It dawns on Bai Yi that his mother is right, but it's been too long since he last celebrated his birthday, which is why he totally forgot. After his mother died in his past life, no one celebrated his birthday again, and gradually he forgot all about it. While tearing down on the food in front of him, Bai Yi is left to rack his brain and see if there is anything that he wants. He is left in a state of confusion since the things he really wants, he already has them. His next and most important objective is to kill the traitor, who caused his death, and that of his entire team. When Bai Yi gets to school that day, he learns that they are about to start preparing for the combat simulation. The teacher stands tall and stern in front of the newly awakened, telling them about the combat simulation. He explains that the academy is a middle school division that is supervised by the Divine Guild. He lets them know that the guild will be watching every move they make, and to impress the Divine Guild, the combat simulation is the best way to do that. He lets them know that the combat simulation will serve as the school graduation assessment, and it will also be broadcast live. The teacher tells them that the best performer will get the chance to participate in the training camp with the high school division. The training camp only happens once a year, and this is the best opportunity to come into contact with the Divine Guild. Apparently, the school usually organizes the best students from the middle and high schools to travel together to the Shenghe Nation, where the Divine Guild headquarters is located. Bai Yi remembers the Shenghe Nation since this is where he met his master, and also this is where the traitor was born. However, the traitor never met his master since he joined the Divine Corps after him. Bai Yi knows that he has to get high scores in the assessment so he can get into the training camp, which will give him more chances to find the traitor in the present. It turns out that the simulation battle is coming this Friday, which is 4 days away. While some are excited to take on the combat simulation, people like Four Eyes and Specs are worried because the simulation takes place inside a real labyrinth. Just then, the teacher points to the training room where they will be having their first training session, the physical conditioning. It is the gravity room where everyone is required to start with 10 sets of shuttle runs. In a surprising turn of events, Bai Yi walks up to his teacher, telling him that he doesn't want to use the recommended training room. This shocks the teacher and even the students who heard Bai Yi make the request. The teacher then tells Bai Yi not to get ahead of himself just because he defeated Hong. The teacher believes that Bai Yi is trying to skip training, but Bai Yi debunks this, telling the teacher that he wants to be engaged in a more specialized training. The teacher is further confused by this as he asks Bai Yi if he is trying to insinuate that there is a problem with his training methods. Bai Yi then reveals that the physical conditioning is necessary for almost every class of awakeners, which means using the gravity room is not a bad option. However, Bai Yi believes that the shuttle run is only best for classes like assassins and warriors, which require speed and coordination. However, Bai Yi is pretty sure that not everyone needs this. He tells the teacher that classes like mages and chanters are better suited to train in the element room. He further adds that everyone should be allowed to train differently, since the use of classes for everyone is different. The teacher hears this and points out the fact that Bai Yi is basically teaching him how to do his job. Chi Yin hears the discussion between Bai Yi and the teacher, and this shocks her. She realizes that the training method Bai Yi is talking about is the same one that a training officer from the Divine Corps, Mr. Dongyang, mentioned. However, this is a newly proposed method by Dongyang, and she wouldn't have known about it if her father hadn't brought home the videotape. Chi Yin is surprised that Bai Yi is basically coming up with the same idea as Dongyang. Specs then tells Bai Yi to avoid being blunt with the teacher so as not to hurt the teacher's feelings since he is the school's most authoritative trainer. Instead of the teacher getting angry, he pats Bai Yi on the shoulder, smiles at him, and tells him that the training method he mentioned is interesting. Specs is glad that the teacher didn't take offense at what Bai Yi said. The teacher then tells Bai Yi that there are too many students in the school and it would be very difficult to cater to everyone's specific needs in the short term. The teacher points out that the combat simulation is a way to assess the student's performance, and if carried out the wrong way, it might derail a student's entire life and career. Bai Yi remembers that even though he had a bad family in his past life, his teachers were there to support him. The teachers were the ones who helped him grow into a responsible person, and not a twisted bad fellow. Bai Yi then turns to the teacher, assuring him that he is not going to let him down during the graduation performance. After hearing this, the teacher asks Bai Yi how he intends to train as an awakened nuclear warrior. Bai Yi then suggests that the teacher turn on the elemental suppression in the element room to its maximum setting. Hearing this shocks the teachers and even Specs. Bai Yi tries to lie his way out, telling the teacher that even though he is a warrior, he is trying to make sure that his abilities are balanced as a way to challenge his weaknesses. Bai Yi wants to do this to avoid explaining that he wants to train the mage profession. Just then, Chi Yin raises her hand, telling the teacher that she is also interested in practicing elemental control too. The teacher has no choice but to give in, and he tells the two to do as they please, but he urges them to put out their best during the final assessment. Chi Yin then walks up to Bai Yi, suggesting that they practice together, but Bai Yi quickly tells her that he is entering a private room to train. Chi Yin is surprised that she just got rejected by Bai Yi. Chi Yin claims that the rejection has fired her up and she wants to do her best. While training in the elemental room, Bai Yi is having a bit of difficulty since he is still new to the mage profession. However, he plans to master the profession in the short time that he has. In addition to this, he plans to hide the fact that he can switch professions since the school is under the supervision of the gods, and every move the students make is being watched. Bai Yi is trying to avoid a scenario where he becomes an early target for the gods. Meanwhile, Chi Yi is training with just 1% elemental suppression, and she thinks she can rival Bai Yi's strength. Bai Yi is also not ready to have anything to do with his classmates to protect them. After school that day, Specs and his friend catch up to Bai Yi. They tell him to slow down since it is hard for them to catch up to him. Apparently the two were Bai Yi's best friends in middle school in his past life. Because they were all weak, they both shared the same fate that came with bullying. However, having his weak friends around him was the only happy moment he had in middle school. Bai Yi is aiming to get revenge in his current life, and he doesn't think there is a need for him to have social interactions with his classmates. To get away from them, he gets on his bicycle and rides away, leaving them behind. The two cannot believe that Bai Yi just ran off again since they were supposed to be an unbreakable trio. Specs points out the fact that Bai Yi has totally changed after the awakening, as he now looks like a confident person. Moments later, the two catch up to Bai Yi, who was waiting for them. Just then, Bai Yi tells Specs to get his lungs checked when he is free. The two are happy that Bai Yi has finally stopped so he can walk with them, but Bai Yi shatters their hope again, telling them that they are too slow to keep up with him. He gets on the bike and rides off, leaving the two in absolute shock. Apparently, in his past life, Specs was suddenly diagnosed with a lung disease, and after this, he took a leave of absence, but because of how serious the situation was, he ended up passing away shortly after he was diagnosed. Bai Yi wants Specs to stay alive and healthy, even if they don't turn out to be friends. On the other hand, Specs believes that Bai Yi is still the same person, even though he appears cold now. At the recruit training ground at Shanghai Nation, two dudes are seen talking about the new recruit who just joined the Divine Guild and has been performing well. The recruit turns out to have the same hair as the traitor who betrayed Bai Yi and his team. That evening, when Bai Yi returned home, he told his mother to avoid going out alone. He assures his mother that he will always return home early, and whenever he comes back, he will come with groceries. Bai Yi is worried because he knows that the environment is not entirely safe for his mother yet, and he needs to provide a better place for her. At the prison for the awakened, Ling Sheng is already making a deal with one of the chefs there. The next day, which is Tuesday, Bai Yi has managed to familiarize himself with how mages operate. He realizes that the key is casting time and calculating the required elemental power. While he is trashing the training room and pushing it to his limits, Bai Yi's friends are struggling with the shuttle runs. The training session continues the next day, and after they are done training, Specs and his friend ask Bai Yi to join them for dinner, but, as expected, he bluntly refuses the offer, telling the two that he needs to return home early. However, he leaves his friends with some advice, telling them a secret technique that is meant for archers. The dude, who has archery as a profession, rejoices after hearing the advice. By Thursday, Specs visits the clinic, and this is where the doctor lets him know that he is actually very lucky to have come to the clinic. The doctor informs him that there is a parasitic tumor growing in his lungs, and this is a tumor that grows very fast. The doctor tells Specs to schedule a surgery at a major hospital so that the tumor can be removed, and he urges him to do this soon. Specs thanks the doctor and assures him that he is going to make an appointment. Just as he is leaving the doctor's office, he remembers that Bai Yi was the one who warned him about his lungs. He wonders how Bai Yi knew that there was a problem with his lungs. This further adds to the mystery surrounding Bai Yi. Just then, he hears some dudes talking about Hong. Apparently, Hong has reached E-Class Level 4, and they believe that he is going to come out as the best performer in the assessment. It turns out that his family has a private labyrinth, and Hong has been using this to level up. This is how his family has been training them as a private army. This is when the trio mentions something that really catches Specs' attention. It turns out that Hong is planning to teach Bai Yi a lesson after school, and this is for what happened between them last weekend. The trio talks about how pissed Hong is, and he is even planning to kill Bai Yi. Hong seems to have armed himself with a weapon so he can be more dangerous and more effective. Specs hears this and realizes that his friend is in grave danger. Worried about his friend, Specs swings into action. He decides that helping Bai Yi is the best thing he can do. He dashes through the school hallway while thinking about the useless tricks that Hong will try to use against Bai Yi. In fact, Specs is worried that Hong might have gathered some of his goons to help beat up Bai Yi. He suddenly comes to a halt as he thinks of how useless he is going to be even if he runs over to try and help Bai Yi. He wants to back down, but then he remembers that Bai Yi helped him. In addition to this, he considers Bai Yi his brother, and because of this, he is prepared to sacrifice himself if it means saving Bai Yi. Specs makes his way to the school armory, and he breaks down the lock to get access to the room. He is conflicted about breaking the rules, but he cannot get the idea that Bai Yi saved him out of his head. He pushes open the door while maintaining the fact that he is prepared to die as long as he gets to save his friend. He checks out the weapons on the weapons rack and he picks a giant axe. Suddenly, he hears Chi Yin's voice behind him, asking him why he is breaking into the armory. Specs wants to keep his mouth shut, but Chi Yin presses further, asking him what is wrong since he looks like he is in a hurry. Specs then screams at Chi Yin, telling her that he needs to go so he can save Bai Yi's life. Meanwhile, Bai Yi has noticed that he is being followed, but he makes sure to reach an alley before telling whoever it is to step out. Just then, Hong steps out, looking all menacing with a sword in his hand. He tells Bai Yi that he is there to settle their score from last weekend. Bai Yi turns around with a pitiful face, asking Hong if he thinks he has what it takes to defeat him. Hong replies that he is positive he can take down Bai Yi. He says this while dashing towards Bai Yi with his skill called Accelerate. Hong claims that he has been training non-stop after the incident. In addition to accelerating, Hong activates another skill to appear behind Bai Yi. Just before he can land a hit on Bai Yi moves very fast out of the way, and once there is an opening, he grabs Hong, smashing him to the ground like he is nothing. Hong's mouth opens up in pain and the bitter realization that Bai Yi's attack power is far higher than his own. He cannot believe that this is a possibility, and just then, Bai Yi tells him that he is not the only one who has been training to get stronger. Bai Yi whips out his dagger in a slick manner and uses it to smash the ground beside Hong's head. Hong realizes something that he failed to realize the first time, and this is the fact that Bai Yi is well ahead of him when it comes to power and strength. They might be the same age, but Hong figures out that the menacing figure standing in front of him is someone he can never reach or even surpass when it comes to strength. Hong is shocked that Bai Yi leveled up too, and he screams at him, asking him what level he is. Hong refuses to believe that Bai Yi leveled up, and he starts asking him how he was able to do it. Hong reveals that he engaged in extra training after school just so he could get to level 4. And this took a lot of hard work, but he doesn't believe that even after all of this, Bai Yi is still faster than him. Bai Yi smiles at Hong when he mentions how hard he has been training. Bai Yi simply asks him if he has died before. With a knife to his throat, Hong tells Bai Yi to just kill him or even torture him. Hong believes that Bai Yi has been looking down on him for a while, and Bai Yi admits to this. However, he assures Hong that he doesn't actually hate him that much. In fact, Bai Yi is impressed that Hong followed him all the way from school and didn't ambush him. He also did not call his friends so that they could all gang up on Bai Yi. Bai Yi understands that Hong was just trying to test out his own strength. Just then, Hong screams at Bai Yi, telling him to kill him right there or risk dying in his hands later. However, he doesn't want Bai Yi to pretend that he can see through him. Bai Yi then thinks again, and he tells Hong that he is taking back what he said about not hating Hong too much. Meanwhile, Specs and Chi Yin have arrived, but they hid behind cover to watch Bai Yi. They are surprised to see that Bai Yi has handled the situation without needing their help. They see Bai Yi sitting on Hong like he is a nobody, and Hong is not even trying to make a move. Bai Yi then tells Hong that he has a deal for him. Bai Yi lets Hong know that there is a way for him to get stronger, but in return, he has to do something for him. The next day, Friday, is the assessment day. Bai Yi and the other newly awakened are gathered, and the teacher tells them that it is time for them to begin the combat simulation. However, the teacher lets them know that even though it is a simulation, they would still have to enter a real labyrinth. Although most of the power in the labyrinth has been sealed by a barrier, there are still dangers. The teacher urges them to act according to their capabilities since there are loads of dangerous monsters inside the labyrinth. To make sure that the students are safe, high school students have been assigned to guide them in the labyrinth. The assigned seniors are not going to participate in combat, but in the face of danger, they are expected to intervene. Apparently, a team including 4 to 5 people will be formed, and they will have a senior student leading them. They are allowed to choose between E-class and F-class dungeons. However, the E-class dungeons are way more difficult, and the teacher urges them not to engage in the E-class dungeon if they don't have the strength. He adds that failing the challenge will result in the loss of academic credits, which shows how important the challenge is. After laying down all of the instructions, the teacher tells them that they can start choosing the dungeon level that they want. He asks the students to raise their hands if they want to challenge the E-class dungeon. A total of 8 students, including Chi Yin and Hong, raised their hands to take on E-class dungeons. Specs is surprised that there are some students crazy enough to take on the dangerous E-class dungeons. Out of the total 180 students, the teacher announces that 8 have volunteered to take on the E-class dungeon. He lets them know that the rest of them will be randomly distributed to take on the F-class dungeon. However, Chi Yin notices that Bai Yi didn't raise his hand for the E-class level. Just then, Bai Yi walks up to the teacher, telling him that he would like to challenge the school's D-class Spirit Jade dungeon. Everyone's mouth is left picking their jaws from the floor when Bai Yi makes this declaration without fear.